Hey guys, I'm Justin.
I'm Leigh.
It's been a couple of weeks, but we are back as promised with a brand new episode. Today we're going to get into to keep or not to keep. So let's roll the intro. We'll get right into it.
To keep or not to keep.
Alright guys, welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks. We took a little bit of a break. We can come back and say though that Mothershucker 2 is 100% finished. It is finished up. We were waiting on some artwork still, and then we can actually send to be pressed and printed, and then we will have physical copies available. So be on the lookout for those. The official date will be October for Scarefest, but we may release them on the website before. We'll come to you guys with an update on that if we do. Again, we're just waiting on a few things. But anyways, we are back. To keep or not to keep. This is the series where we go over everything that we've watched over the past couple of weeks. So we're going to get right into it. We hope everyone had a safe and fun Labor Day weekend, and we thank you for joining us. We will be back again later this week with our August 2025 collection update. So we're getting right back into the swing of things here on the Horrorland Media YouTube channel. I think I may have watched a few extra things alone than we might have watched together, so I'll go first. We'll just kind of see how it ends up in the end. So I'll kind of lump these two together, Killjoy 1 and Killjoy 2. So I came into the Killjoy series about Killjoy 3, and I really enjoyed Killjoy 3, 4, and 5. I think, is there 5 or 6? There's only 5 of these. So there's Killjoy 3, Killjoy Goes to Hell, and then Killjoy's Psycho Circus or whatever. I had never seen 1 and 2, and so I picked these up a while ago from Full Moon and finally got around to checking them out. This series definitely takes a turn for part 3. 1 and 2, I'm not real sure exactly. Basically, you have this gang member, and there's this boy, and he's kind of hitting on the gang member's girl, and so they wind up killing him, and he's into voodoo, and so he comes back as Killjoy and takes his revenge. Part 2 doesn't really ever say. Killjoy's just kind of back in the woods, and you've got this group of like juvenile delinquents. They're being taken from a detention center, and Killjoy, they kind of break down on the road, and they go for help, and Killjoy's just kind of at this house, and you don't really know why he's there. These were not great, but as a completionist, I will go ahead and vote to keep both of these. I'm much like the latter part of the series, which is very unusual. Most of the time, your first few in the series is better. I will say I'm not 100% sure. These were all African-American cast. Both part 1 and 2, and then when you get on over, they're not. So it was kind of different to see that, and I don't know if the director was an African American. I don't know if these were wrote to be kind of almost like a black exploitation kind of a film, but it was kind of cool to see where Killjoy kind of came from and where he went, and kind of how the series changed. I don't know if it started out and, like I said, was meant to be that. I mean, they're not terrible films, but definitely production quality, storyline, things like that. They can be a tough watch. I much prefer the later installments, but as a completionist, we will vote to keep Killjoy 1 and Killjoy 2.
My turn.
Your turn.
Okay, so we actually just watched this one the other night, called Storm Warning. I think there's multiple movies called that, and I don't know, when this one was made, or...
No, it should say on the back there, 2000, and you'll have to take the... I think it's 2008, 2006, 2008, something like that. 2007, I hit it right in between. So 2007
okay.
On that one.
Actually, I don't know if I would consider it horror as much as...
Almost a thriller.
Yeah, it's more of a thriller, really, but it was pretty good. Basically, this couple... they decide to take a boat out for a day. It's not a very big boat. The wife actually complains about that, and they're going fishing for the day. And a storm starts rolling in, and so they see kind of like an island not far from where they have their boat anchored. And so they go over to this island, and it's a lot of brush and stuff, and they finally kind of find a place to dock the boat, and they just start walking, and some of the things they see are a little disturbing. So, but then the storm it starts like literally pouring on them. So they're trying to find some cover. And so they find a house that looks empty. There's stuff all in the house, but it looks run down and old, and it doesn't really look like anybody actively lives there. So they go in, and the owners come home. So, and they end up taking them hostage, and it's a pretty good movie, pretty good ending. So,
I would agree. Very small cast. It's got 5 people. This is from Jamie Blanks. So, I just looked that up. That's why I was on my phone. I was looking that up to make 100% sure that I was right on that. But Jamie Blanks brought us films such as Valentine. He did Urban Legend. So, he definitely did some stuff in the horror genre. But I have to say, this is not that. Both Valentine and Urban Legend were definitely teen horror movies that you would go, to see. This is very much adult horror. I mean, it's got some stuff that'll make you think. It's good though. It does involve some situations in there. We won't give away the plot of the movie, but I will say it does involve some situations that we neither one normally go for. But the way that this one was done, the way that they did it. I was
not
okay.
that it made it okay, but it
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it made the way that they did it, the payoff of it made it where it was like, okay, I actually, So overall, I mean, again, there's not a good way to kind of review this one without giving too much away. If you haven't seen Storm Warning for 2007, it comes as a high recommend from me. So personally, I'm going to vote to keep.
Okay.
All right, next up, this is a bootleg. But I did watch Psycho Cop. So Vinegar Syndrome has released Psycho Cop Returns. They did that years and years ago. However, no one has ever released Psycho Cop. And so I did get a bootleg of this, and it's your standard horror film. I mean, there's not much, that sets this one apart. You basically have, and you find all this out kind of towards the end of the film. But it's not really like a giving away the storyline too much. But you have this boy. He was put into foster care, and he believes that God will always kind of have his back. And then as he ages, he gets thrown out of the foster care system, and he's like, well, God let me down. I'm now going to worship the devil. And so with the help of the devil, he just becomes this evil, maniacal person, and he winds up infiltrating the police department, and he becomes a cop, and he just kills and takes his revenge. There's this group of teens, I don't know if they're college or, it never really says, but they've gone up for the weekend and they're just going to drink and party at this house, and he's kind of lurking in the woods, and he kills them one by one. This one does not have a ton of blood. There's no nudity in this one either, which is a far cry from part 2, because there's tons of both of those in part 2. So definitely, I mean, I enjoyed this one. I don't feel like it was as good as part 2, in all honesty. I think just that setting of being in like the high-rise building that they were in part 2 and everything. But I did still enjoy this one for what it was. I'm going to vote to keep.
Okay, next we have Creep. Basically, it starts out and this, the girl that, I don't remember her name in the Bourne Identity, but the black-headed girl from Bourne Identity is in it. And they start out at this party, and she is supposed to go and meet George Clooney that night. And so she has been drinking. Her friend leaves before her and doesn't tell her. And so she tries to catch a cab to get to the other side of the city, and she misses it. So she doesn't get a cab. She has to go to the subway. And she is waiting on the bench. She looks up at the sign, and it says she has 6 minutes to the last train. Well, she ends up passing out, and she misses the last train. So she is locked down in the subway station, and let's just say there is something down there. And she learns the ins and outs of the subway station really, really well. I will say that. And without giving too much away, I mean, basically something takes her, and so she has to fight her way through.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The Storm Warning was the same way. I didn't know what to expect from either of these. Basically, they both had pretty cool covers, and Orbit had an umbrella sale. And I was like, I would like to beef up my umbrella collection because the few things that I do have from them I have enjoyed. So I just bought some kind of things at random. And this movie was not what I thought it was going to be. But that's not a bad thing. It was pretty good. It's got some twists and turns and some things. And I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. I think I liked it a lot more than Leigh did. But I did enjoy this one. I thought it was pretty good for what it was. So for me, it's going to be a vote to keep.
Yeah.
Did you dislike it that much? I mean, I know that you didn't like it as much as me, but
I didn't really I didn't hate it.
I gotcha. All right, next up from Scream Factory, we do have Demon of Paradise. So basically this one is, there is this ancient demon that lives under the water. He's kind of left this small fishing village alone, and all of a sudden there is these men that come up and they're like, hey, we found that if we throw dynamite into the water, it basically blows the fish to the top, and it's making everyone, you spend, the small amount of money, they're making a killing on this dynamite. And then they're also turning around and they're making an even bigger killing on the fish that they're catching. So it's a win-win for everybody. But blowing up the dynamite, it kind of awakens this demon, and he basically comes out of the water and gets his revenge. This one is a Scream Factory, Shout Factory exclusive. That's the main reason that I picked this one up. I have to be honest though, I did not care for this one. It was extremely slow. And the demon looks terrible. It is a funny, kind of good terrible. I will say that, but I don't know. There was just something about this one I didn't care for. I didn't connect or care about any of the actors or actresses in this one, about any of the characters. I didn't care about them. It was just kind of like, okay. And the demon doesn't really do a whole lot of killing. He's just kind of like floating through the water, and then something will happen. And then he floats through the water, and you got a ton of dialogue, and then something will happen. For me, I didn't love this one. Vote to sell.
Look at you with the first soul. Next up, we have Black Bag. This, again, to me, was not really horror. Has Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender. It also has Pierce Brosnan in it, even though he doesn't have a major role, I wouldn't say. But, so basically this group of 6 people, are secret agents, basically. And they all work on an ops team together. And Pierce Brosnan is actually the leader of that group, but he's not included in their activities, like where they do socializing outside of work. So basically, they all have a dinner one night at one of their homes. Basically because I believe he was the longest active member in the group of the 6, and he's married to one of the other operatives, and he doesn't trust someone. He thinks there's a leak in the group of 6. So he basically is trying to get them to tell the truth about things, and he does that over a dinner. And they do find some truths about each other, even though it's not really what he was looking for. So he keeps digging and to see if he can find what he's looking for. And I will say towards the end of the movie, they have another social gathering. They do end up finding out who the mole is in their group. But they call it the Black Bag because if they can't tell the other one where they're going for their mission, and they leave on a whim, they just, when the partner asks or the person in their group asks them where they're going, they say Black Bag. And so it's very interesting, I will say, but you do have to pay attention to follow everything.
Yeah, very high on story, very low on action, but that is not to discredit the film. I thought it was good. I really enjoyed the dynamic of the husband and the wife because, again, you were trying to kind of figure out, the the husband's basically been approached, and he's like, they tell him, they're like, your wife, we think she's bad, we think she's betraying her country. And so it really kind of goes against that. Do you believe in your wife and your marriage, or do you trust in that what someone else is telling you in the country, that she has betrayed her country, and kind of the inner workings of that. And I enjoyed it. I wish it would have had a little more action, but I mean, not all of these kind of, not every movie is going to have action. Not every movie is going to be high on kills if it's a horror movie or whatever. So again, doesn't discredit it. I mean, I liked it enough. I don't know that we would ever watch it again, but I mean, I would vote to keep.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Alright, next up here, Splatter Farm. So this is kind of the running joke between me and Carl. Carl had this, he was sitting on it. I don't think he knew how much it was worth or anything else. So I kind of told him how much it was worth, and it kind of became a running joke. And finally he broke down and he was like, I'm not gonna sell it for that. I don't care to have to sit on it on eBay and everything else. Just give me $20 and a t-shirt. So that's what I did. And we eventually did get around to watching this. And I had seen this once years and years and years ago. And I just have to say, I do remember it being better than this. When I put this in, holy hell, this was terrible. And I didn't put it in, it's still sealed. I actually watched it on YouTube. There is a version there. I did not care for this one at all. It was not at all what I remembered it being. This is low budget this is low budget from low budget. This is terrible. And I don't know, there was just something about it. I just couldn't get into the kills and stuff. This one is held in very high regards because of the gore. It was filmed on such a small budget and filmed so crappily, yet the gore and everything that they were still able to produce in it, I don't know. For me, it just wasn't one that I could reconnected with after all those years. It just wasn't one that I enjoyed. And, it just is what it is. Sometimes movies are like that. You enjoy them once, you watch them the second time, you're like, how did I enjoy that? So, yeah, Splatter Farm for me, going to be vote to sell.
Alright, so next up we have My Demon Lover with Scott Valentine. I don't really know how to sum this one up. So, the tagline is, he brought out the best in her and she brought out the beast in him. Well, that was true. Definitely is a corny, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say horror comedy, but I mean, maybe you would classify it as that.
It would just be based off that because of the demon aspect of it, but it's really not.
So, basically, every time this guy was cursed as a young kid for making out with a girl, the grandmother cursed him, and so every time he gets horny, he turns into a demon. But the demon is, at first they don't show it at all. They don't show his face at all, really. And then as you get into the movie, every time it happens, his demon face is different. Mm-hmm. Very different. Not a little bit, not like it's changing, no, it's just different. Well, they think that he is the one that is, going around, even though nobody knows who he is, they think he's going around killing people. And come to find out, there's actually more than one individual that, and I don't know if he has the same curse or if it doesn't really ever explain that, I don't think.
It doesn't really explain how he got, I think, yeah, it kind of does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's the same.
Same kind of curse.
Yeah, because I think he says, oh, so-and-so, they're at the final battle. He goes, oh, so so-and-so. And it was the girl's name. Okay. So I guess he had kind of made up with the same girl.
Difference. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, long story short, I definitely probably would never watch this again. It was kind of a struggle for me on the beginning. I will say it did have some funny aspects in it, but I don't think it was funny enough that I would ever want to be persuaded to watch it again.
Just because she doesn't want to watch it again, I vote to keep. But no, I'm kidding. No, this one will definitely be for me a vote to sell, which sucks because the girls got me this for Father's Day. We had actually watched the trailer, and I thought that this would be really funny, and Leigh did too. And the comedy just fell short. Like she said, the demon being different every time it showed him, kind of that aspect just kind of took me all the way out of it. And yeah, I don't know. There was just something with this one I didn't love. So vote to sell.
Agreed.
All right, next up, going to go over another bootleg. This is Campfire Tales. This is one that people have asked for legitimate years and years and years to please get a Blu-ray release. I'd actually never seen it, and now that I have, I understand why people want this on Blu-ray. This movie was freaking phenomenal. So basically, you have this group of kids. They are drinking and they're driving, and they have a car crash. And all of them walk away from the car crash unscratched and unscathed. And while they light some flares in the road and they're waiting for the police to show up, they're thinking, surely they have to come down this road at some point. They start a fire to kind of keep warm, and they tell each other ghost stories. And so this is kind of like, I think it's got 3 stories. There's a wraparound story at the beginning, so kind of 4 stories total. And let's just say things are not as they appear to be in this film. I enjoyed this. I thought all 3 of the stories were good for what they were. At no point did I find myself... A lot of times in anthologies, you're like, okay, how long till the next story? And that wasn't the case with this one. I loved this one. I understand now why everyone wants this one on a legitimate Blu-ray. Until it gets that, and it may never get that, but until it does, I do have this awesome bootleg of it. I'm proud to have this and proud to add it to the shelf. Campfire Tales, for me, 100% vote to keep.
Okay, so next we have Fight or Flight with Josh Hartnett. I will say, again, this is really more of an action movie.
Yeah, I missed
it. But it is entertaining and it is funny. Mm-hmm. So, it says on the front from the producers of John Wick. I don't know if I would go that far, as it's definitely, to me, not comparable to a John Wick movie. But yeah, but it is, it basically mostly takes place on a plane. And so it is definitely funny. They're basically looking for, there's killers on board that are looking for him. He used to be an operative, and he's out of the game, and he has someone very high up and the government call him and ask him to take this last case, basically. And I feel he gets kind of forced into it, so he does it. He gets on this plane. He doesn't really realize what he's looking for until on into the movie, but he does find I think they call it they call it the ghost.
The ghost.
Yeah. They were looking for the ghost. Well, they didn't really have any information about the ghost. Male, female, color, what culture they came from, anything. Nobody knew anything about the ghost. And so he didn't really know what he was looking for. And then he has all these people that are trying to kill him, and he doesn't understand why. So it actually is a very, very funny action movie. So
yeah, I would agree. Best way to sum this one up is if you guys have seen Kingsman 2 with Elton John, that portion where he's playing the piano and you have all the colorful stuff, that's pretty much this entire movie. All the fight scenes, he gets, not to give too much away, but he does get stabbed with some drugs at some point, and he has that euphoric, psychedelic, kind of trippy. I enjoyed it. Josh Hartnett definitely seeing a resurgence to his career. I enjoyed this one for what it was. For me, vote to keep.
Okay.
Alright, next up, we've got a big box set here. I have to say I cheated. I did not watch all of these. I only watched the first 3, and that is the Omen movies. So I will preface this by saying these are not bad films. They're not. I'm not really huge into the possession kind of demon child kind of films. I'm mostly slashers, stuff like that. But these are not bad films. But going through and watching them, basically it's okay, am I ever going to watch these again? And I'm rapidly running out of room on shelves. I am actually, just while making this video, I have thought about maybe even moving some stuff around to try and maybe make my horror have a little bit more room. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but just stuff like this, if I'm never going to watch it again, I've got to let it go. So for me, I feel like everyone's pretty much seen The Omen. Basically, in part 1, you have a kid that is adopted, and the parents are like, they're normal parents, and they finally, throughout the film, there's happenings, and it's kind of that slow descent, and their child is basically possessed by the devil. And that's basically the whole series. You also have the remake. And the rest of the films, the sequels and stuff, they kind of take some different turns. They're not bad movies. But again, this is a pretty big box set here from Scream Factory. It's not something I'm probably ever going to watch again. So for me, I'm just going to have to let this one go to someone who would vote to sell.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Cobra with Sylvester Stallone. It was okay. It wasn't a bad movie. I'm not a huge Stallone fan from back in the early, I guess that was probably the 80s.
Yeah, probably.
I'm definitely more of a Stallone fan from the latter 90s and 2000s.
Yeah, 86.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Everybody probably knows what Cobra is. I don't really know how you'd sum it up. He's basically
Yeah. Cobra pretty much, Sylvester Stallone, he plays a cop who, he is on the zombie squad, which is basically he gets the job no one else wants. And he doesn't play well with others, kind of thing. And basically, there is this serial killer going around the city, and they're killing all of these people, and the cops can't seem to catch him. We've got glare. The cops can't seem to catch him. And so Sylvester Stallone kind of winds up taking the case against everyone's better judgment, because they're like, you're not going to listen to anything. You're not going to play by the rules or play by the book. And he doesn't. And for me, I enjoy this one. This one teeters on the line of horror for me, because it does have the serial killer aspect. I like Sylvester Stallone. I don't know really and truly of many Sylvester Stallone movies that I don't enjoy. So for me, definitely vote keep. Alright, last one in my stack here. That worked out pretty good. Last one in my stack is The Stalking here from Wild Eye. This is one everyone knows I love my Scarecrow movies. I will say, do not let the cover fool you, because this is not what it is. It is a Scarecrow movie, but basically, it's not the Scarecrow on the front of this. It is, the Scarecrow basically has just a sack over it. It's a guy walking around with a sack over his head and a hat on. There's not really any detail put into the Scarecrow that much. He's just walking around, and he does do some killing, but he also has like these vines that kind of grow, and they like scurry across the ground, and they'll go choke somebody, or it's stupid. For me, I did not care for this one. I watched this one on, I believe it was Tubi. That's why it's still factory sealed. I didn't have to open it, and thank God, because now I can put this in my $10 stuff, and one of you guys can buy it, because maybe you like super bad Scarecrow movies. I only like good Scarecrow movies, so this one for me, vote to sell, didn't care for it at all.
Okay. Last one in the stack is Jade. So basically, it is a vinegar syndrome. It basically, you had a couple, a very powerful couple, and I don't even, correct me if I'm wrong, think that she works. He's a high power attorney.
She works. Remember, she was given that speech at the college. Remember,
Yeah.
She flew out. She's like I don't know exactly what I don't know if she was like a psychologist, and she,
Maybe she was a psychologist.
I think she was. And
But never showed her doing anything but giving that one speech.
No, I think she was, yeah.
And then she basically, I think her husband and her, I guess, previous lover from college or whatever are good friends. And
Horatio.
Horatio from CSI Miami. He is a cop and an investigator. So basically, they find another high-power individual, and I can't remember if it was a mayor or governor.
He's a governor.
Okay, they find him, and they found him dead. and not just dead, but like tied up and.
Oh, the one that they found dead. I don't know what he was. He was like a big art collector, but I don't think he was anybody. Because remember at the end, they found out he was actually blackmailing them. That was all the pictures. He was, remember? Right.
You're right. Okay. So anyway, there's a lot of high power people in here. People with money, the huge homes, the nice, and so they keep finding all these pictures of basically exploitative pictures of them having relations with a female. And so they start digging and they start finding like tapes and things. So they start watching these tapes to try to figure out like who these women are. They find a couple of the other women and talk to them. Well, they're trying to figure out, everybody calls this one lady Jade, and nobody knows who she is. Nobody knows who her real identity is. So the whole movie is about searching for this Jade person that's not her real name, and nobody knows who she is. So that's really the entire film until they find her.
Mm-hmm.
So
this comes kind of in that long line of 90s erotic thrillers. Basic Instinct, Indecent Exposure, that kind of stuff. Everyone, when this one got announced, I'd never seen it, and they was like, this movie sucks. I don't know why anyone would want to release this. I didn't think it sucked. I thought it was pretty good. Leigh did not care for the ending.
The ending freaking sucked.
We will not give that away. I didn't think the ending sucked. It's all in your head and how you look at it. But, I mean, I can see where she would see that the ending sucked. But I didn't think it did. I thought it was just adding that extra layer onto lies, deceit, and the descent into madness. But overall, I mean, I enjoyed this one. I didn't think it was bad, like I said. Everybody else hated it. It has a phenomenal car chase scene through Chinatown there. That probably one of the best car chase scenes I've seen.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, it had a story that kept us enthralled in it, and I mean, for me, I would still vote to keep it.
Okay.
So that's Jade. All right. So out of those, we never went over how many we had. Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Out of 15 shows, we have 5 sales. We'll run back through those right quick. We do have The Stalking on DVD from Wild Eye. We do have The Omen, the deluxe box set edition here. Again, these are not bad films. They're just not ones I'm going to rewatch. We do have My Demon Lover from Scream Factory. We have Splatter Farm on DVD. And we also have Demon of Paradise. So if you guys are interested in any of these, they will be at a convention. Hopefully Scarefest will be the first convention, so they're available until sold. So that's going to do it for us today. Again, we hope everyone had a safe and happy Labor Day weekend. We will be back later this week with our collection update for August of 2025. It's a pretty big one. Got lots of pre-orders in and lots of big Arrow chunky boxes and stuff that makes stacks look bigger than they are, so Leigh can give me dirty looks. But anyways, we appreciate you all tuning in, and we will see you later this week with that next episode. Thanks, guys.
To keep or not to keep.